All right, what's up YouTube? Today we're gonna do a third gen Toyota Tacoma review at 100,000 miles. If you're in the market or looking to buy a pre-owned or used Toyota Tacoma in the years of 2016 to 2023, this video is gonna be pretty educational and hopefully help you guys out. This one specifically is a 2017 Tacoma TRD Off-Road. Generally, the third gen Tacomas, the frame, the body, transmission, the motor, as long as you have the V6 package or edition, pretty much everything's going to be the same. A couple things in the interior, I know the buttons and a couple of the interface things are a little bit different, but as far as everything we're going to be talking about, as far as reliability and my experience with it, this video should help you guys out quite a bit. I bought this truck in 2018. It was 1 year old. It had extremely low miles. I am the second owner, and I am at 103,000 miles right now, just over. And I want to give you guys my honest review and my honest opinion of driving this truck over all these years and just hitting over 100,000 miles. This is my daily driver. I drive a half hour to work every day and a half hour home. It is my weekend warrior. I tow boats with it. I tow tractors, UTVs, giant loads of firewood. I haul whatever you can think of in the back. I've had it on camping trips, fishing trips. I've had it off-road numerous times. I've had it in trails. I've had it in fields, in mud. Pretty much everything. I've really ran this thing through the ringer, and I just want to give you guys my honest opinion about it. I'm not going to talk about all the bells and whistles or what this trim package has or all the features the truck has. I'm just going to go through it and really just give you guys a general idea of, you know, what is good about it and what is bad and what my personal experience is. I'm going to talk about three things. First, we're going to talk about the motor. We're going to talk about the exterior, so the body, and then we're also going to talk about the interior. First things first, pop the hood. Let's talk about the engine. All right, so hood's open. Here's the motor. This is a 3.5 liter Toyota V6. Any third gen Tacoma with the V6 motor is going to be this motor. You know, overall, I really don't have too much to say about it other than it is extremely reliable. And I can confidently say that at 100,000 miles, it is equally reliable as it was brand new. Really, the only things I've ever had to do is just basic maintenance, oil changes, fluid changes, things like that. I'm on my second battery right now. Probably have to change that out this fall again for the winter. But aside from maintenance and anything, you know, that you would or should need to replace, which I really haven't even done, I didn't even do the spark plugs yet. So overall, as far as reliability, I give this thing a 10 out of 10. You know, as you can see, it's very dirty. I've ran it through the ringer many times. I've taken this thing off-road like I just mentioned. Motor bay's been covered in mud, splashed in water, and she's never let me down. So again, it's a 3.5 liter V6. As far as power, I think Toyota said from the factory they're looking at about 278 horsepower. And then as far as torque goes, it's 265. Those are rough numbers. I think that's what my owner's manual said, but don't quote me on it, but it's going to be close. Gas mileage is great. The highest I've ever gotten this truck, being nice to it, was 23 miles per gallon. And when I'm towing, the lowest I've ever had was about 13 miles per gallon. These trucks are not fast. I'm sure you guys have heard that if you've watched any other reviews or any complaints or anything like that. Yeah, I'm gonna just say it, they're not fast and they do not have a lot of power, especially if you're used to a V8 like I was before I bought this truck. But I don't want you guys to get confused with underpowered being undercapable. Yes, this truck is slow. Yes, it does not have the max tow capacity as far as, you know, when you're comparing it to a V8. However, it's towed everything I've needed it to. I've found that anything over 5,000 pounds when I'm towing, that's when it really does start to work. You really do notice it. Your motor's going to be running at high RPMs, especially if you're on the tollway or freeway going 65, 70 miles an hour. But I don't know. It's never failed me and never let me down with anything that I've towed. So I know the max capacity for towing is 6,400 pounds. I have not maxed it out to that far yet. Like I said, I've just been over 5,000, and I have noticed that that 5,000 threshold is about, you know, where it starts to get uncomfortable, or where you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Anything under that, I mean, I've towed fishing boats 3,500 pounds. I mean, it's done everything I've needed it to do. So I don't know. I mean, I can dump on it, say, yeah, it's slow. It's a slow truck. It doesn't have a lot of power, which is in a sense true, but everything that I've ever had to tow with it, it's done just fine. So take that for what it is. All right, so the interior. Let's hop in here. So the interior. Overall impressions, visually, yeah, it's nice. No problems. Really, the only issues that I've ever had is my steering wheel on the top got sun beaten. I do not park it in my garage regularly. It pretty much sits out every single night of the year. And it is flaking a little bit, as you can see here, and then up on the top, kind of on the back where the sun beats through the windshield. Truck's really not that old, so I was a little disappointed for that to be happening this early. But yeah, I don't know. That's really my biggest complaint with the interior. If you're comparing it to other trucks, as far as like the Chevy midsize, like their Colorado, I know they have a lot more leather, and probably the, I don't want to say quality, but the luxury is a little bit more. You can't really tell on the camera, but a lot of Toyota's aesthetics in here is hard shell plastic. Of course, dashboard is, that pretty much is on any car. But a lot of the other things is just that hard shell. It's not really that nice stitch leather or anything. So, I mean, you can take that for what it's worth. Personally, I don't mind it because it's easy to clean, and it does not scratch easily. And, you know, if you got a dog in the car, or like, you know, I don't know, you got something in your pocket, if you're wearing cargo pants and it scratches, it's not leather, it's hard shell, so it does not scratch. And if it gets dirty, it's really easy to just wipe down, versus leather where you kind of have to pay attention to it, treat it, make sure it doesn't get scratched, so on and so forth. So I think what Toyota tried to do here is they replaced the luxury with longevity. Visually, it looks really nice, but when you know, open the door and shut it and things like that, it may feel a little bit more cheap than what you're used to if you used to drive a Chevy, or even like a Ford F-150, where it's a little bit more luxurious. But as far as reliability or anything like that, I mean, it's really easy to clean. It doesn't really get faded, doesn't get rubbed up, nothing like that. So that's what it is. As far as buttons, newer models, your dashboard might look a little bit different, but everything works. My four-wheel drive actuator works. My push to start's never given me any issues. My air conditioning, all the different controls, hazard lights, anything in this monitor, no issues. Speakers, I've found that they're actually really good compared to my wife's car, and her car is 2 years newer than me, and I listen to music all the time, blast music, and they've never worn out. They don't rattle, nothing like that. So those have held up. As far as space, I'm pretty short. I'm about 5'8", so I've got plenty of leg room. If you're a little bit taller, you're gonna have to slide your seat back quite a bit, but you will have the leg room that you need. The only bad thing would be if somebody's sitting behind you, you're not gonna have too much space back there. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're taller and you got kids or whatever, they'll definitely fit back there. But if you're hauling, you know, 2 grown men and you got to have your seat all the way back because you're 6'3" or whatever, that might be a problem to think about. But yeah, I've had no issues. So again, let's go to the back seat. I do have a little one. You can see the car seat back there. Fits a car seat comfortably. You know, you do have to have the front seat slid up a couple notches to fit it, but you still get plenty of leg room in the front when you got a car seat back there. Back seat, again, I'm not going to go through all the features or anything, but there are a bunch of different compartments underneath the seat and behind it. I found that very handy to have toe straps, hitches, gloves, can of WD-40, whatever it is that you need to keep in your truck, little toolbox, basic roadway tools, jumper cables, whatever. So there's plenty of little storage compartments, which is nice. I've went on a camping trip and we had 4 grown men, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and we all did just fine for 5.5 hours. So, you know, it's a little bit tighter than a full size, but as far as room, you can make it work. So that is really the only complaint for the interior, is just this flaking here. And then I guess the hard shell plastic, it's not really a complaint, but it's just a notice thing where it might not be as luxurious as compared to something else. But again, that does have a pro because it cleans up easy. You just wipe it down. So that's really it for the interior. Body of the truck. I might be biased, but I think that this is still one of the best looking mid-size trucks on the market. I've seen the new 2024 Tacomas. I think they look great. I think they look awesome, but I still think the 3rd gen looks a little bit better. Paint's held up good. I've had no oxidization or really any issues. When it rains, I have noticed every once in a while, you can kind of see it here, it's drying up. You do get a little bit of pulling and drip here, but that scrubs right off when you wash it. Gas cap, I guess I got a little bit of a complaint. These screws are rusting already. Whatever, you can just replace them, not a big deal, but that is something to notice. And another complaint I do have about the body is our bumper strength on the stock bumpers. As you can see, this is aftermarket, solid steel bumper. I was rear-ended a couple months after I bought the truck, and what happened was it pushed the stock bumper into the side panel here and chipped up all the paint. So I had to take it to the body shop, spend about $400 to get all that replaced. Well, not replaced, but sanded and repainted. And I got rear-ended again about a year after that, and it did the same thing. So I got it fixed, and I got upset enough to the point where I pulled off the stock bumper, put on a steel one, have not had an issue since. I know you guys are probably seeing a little bit of rust here. That's a whole nother issue with the aftermarket bumper, but I do live in the Midwest where our streets and roads are covered in salt, you know, 4 months out of the year, so that has a lot to do with it. A couple other things. Front end, I've noticed a couple of the plastic pieces, they rattle a little bit. I don't know. I feel like they should fit a little bit better. Really not that big of a deal as far as functionality, but I don't know. It's just, again, my issue and my complaint with just the plastic bumpers. Another thing, if you come down here, you can probably see it on the camera, bubbling, right? I was in a trail once, I heard a rock fling up, smacked the side of the door. Year and a half later, now I got some bubbling. So a rock did hit it, punctured it, and I'm sure it got some moisture under there, and now it's bubbling. So I don't know how much of Toyota we can blame on that, but it is one thing to think about, you know, especially if you have aggressive tires or whatever. Maybe a mud flat might be worth it to protect it. As far as the frame goes, it's kind of what you expect. There's a little bit of surface rust in some of the joints here and there. But overall, I will say that the frame is held up pretty nice. You know, again, you can kind of see some of the surface rust creeping in there. I don't know if you guys can really see, but the frame is in good shape. So I know Toyota in the past on their other generations have had some huge problems with it, where there were recalls and Toyota was replacing frames and stuff like that. But I think they finally got it figured out. So I haven't had any problems with that. Let's talk about rust again. This is probably my biggest complaint right here. Little bit of rust and bubbling there. I assume that when it rains, probably water pulls up from the drainage from the door right here, and water just sits and it just eats away at it. There is another little bubble patch here. So, I mean, I was a little disappointed with that, but I mean, I'm at the point now I probably could sand it down and, you know, get some decent Rust-Oleum paint, enamel, and paint over it just to protect it better. But yeah, that was a little lame. Was not happy about that. But aside from those issues, that's what you're looking at a truck this age, and having it for 100,000 miles. Let's talk about the bed. Slow lower tailgate. At first, I used to make fun of it because I thought it was for weenies, but honestly, I kind of like it. Yeah, it's a mid-sized truck. There's not much bed space. It's just the way it is. If you're hauling sheets of drywall, sheets of plywood, it's probably going to be a problem. You can make it work. I've done it before. But if you're a contractor and you're doing that weekly, it's probably going to be a pain in the butt and be a problem for you. But I mean, if you're using it for other stuff, you know, you can fit grills, stoves, fridges, anything in here. I don't know. It's a small bed. It's just the way it is with mid-sized trucks. This composite plastic shell. At first, I was very skeptical of it. I did not like it. I used to like my old school, you know, solid metal bed. You get it coated, you're good to go. So I was a little bit skeptical on it, but honestly, I wouldn't trade this for anything. It's extremely durable. The plastic does not scratch easily. You can see, you know, I've beat the heck out of it over the years, but the hard shell plastic honestly is probably more durable than steel. It's really thick. It's pretty much scratch proof, and when it does scratch, you don't really notice it. And it's held up quite well. Tailgate up here, this is plastic. I kind of wish, I don't know, they would have done something a little more durable, but you know, if you're laying 2x4s and stuff over here, of course, you're gonna get your scratches and your scuffs, but that's just part of it. We're gonna talk about this light. My truck is a 2017. First year they made these was, well, as far as the 3rd gen, was 2016. They had a recall for these lights. The seal in there, what happens is it gets loose, water leaks in, and your headboard gets wet. That happened to me, and it was the night before a camping trip where we're taking my truck, and I had no other option other than to just put a big line of goopy silicone over it and just make it dry. I know on the newer years, I think 2018 and up, they ended up putting a different type of seal in here, so that shouldn't be an issue. But if you're looking at a 16 or 17, keep an eye out for it. And you know, Toyota will fix it for free, and they will make that right for you. So it was disappointing, but the fact that they're willing to make it right and replace it, excellent. But I put on silicone, and I just haven't been to the dealer, and I haven't had the time to go back and get it fixed. But for now, silicone works. A little bit more about the bed space. They do have the side rail system here. I think that comes with all of the TRD options. It might even come with the SR5, I'm not sure. At first I was skeptical because it really is just a rail with these little plastic mounts. But I found it extremely helpful. These kind of just unscrew. I don't know if I can do it with one hand, but they unscrew and you're able to slide them and adjust them to where you need them to be. They have them on both sides, so you know, if you're carrying luggage or, you know, if you're moving a fridge or whatever it is, it's just nice to have those adjustments so, you know, you can secure it quickly and you don't have to just work with, you know, your couple points on the front or on the bottom down here. So for what it's worth, I mean, it's actually pretty nice. At first I thought it was kind of cheap and chintzy, but honestly, that's another really good feature that they have. Storage compartments. I mean, they're good. I don't really use them for anything. Only thing I don't like is that these do rust. I don't know, the water kind of sprays up from the tire on the inside, which just keeps it wet all the time. Outlet still works. I've had no issues. I've used it to run a power tool on many occasions. Never let me down. So that held up over time quite well. A couple other things, I guess, that I really didn't mention. My truck is lifted, as you can probably tell. The tires on it, I've got 285 by 70 by 17 inch rim, and it's lifted 2.5 inches. So I'm not really going to talk too much about the suspension because it is aftermarket. Aside from the suspension, these trucks are extremely capable off-road. They're very narrow. They're not wide like a full-size pickup. They fit in between trees. They get in between everything in the tight trails. They turn really tight. Turning radius is great. You know, the four-wheel drive system is excellent. I've had really good luck with the locking rear diff. Between just regular four-wheel drive, high-low, and even just, you know, with the TRD, with the off-road lock diff, I don't know. I've never been in a spot where it's failed me. I've had to drive on snow-covered roads over 6 inches of snow on many occasions, and this thing is an absolute monster. It's given me no issues. I've never felt unsafe with it. It'll drive through a muddy cornfield like nothing. It'll drive through, you know, small rivers. I've had this thing sunk past the doors before. Cleans up easy. The interior is really easy to clean. I hope this helps you guys. Really, it's just my honest impressions of just a couple issues that I had with it. But I mean, if you're looking for a pickup truck to have the bed space, to have the space in the back to haul your family or your friends on trips or whatever you're doing, and you're looking for something that is excellent off-road, this is going to be your truck. I mean, I really, for 100,000 miles, I'm extremely impressed. You know, it has not let me down. I've done nothing to the motor other than general maintenance. So I hope this video helps you guys. I'm pretty active in the comment section, so if you guys have any other questions, or maybe I missed something or it didn't make sense, or you need clarification on anything, just make sure to leave a comment, let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.